Oh boy, here we go. Despite how vicious Tesla fanboys are, imagine having nothing else in your life to be fanatical about except a vehicle. Wouldn't want to be them. I have been very open about the things that I love and more often than not the things that I hate about my Tesla Model Y. And since I've owned this car for about a year now, I have a whole new perspective on this car. And if you're thinking about buying a Tesla, specifically a Tesla Model Y, you're gonna want to watch this video, get a notepad, take some notes, wait until the end because I'm saving the biggest rant for last. This is a follow-up to my very first video where I told you things that I loved and hated about this car. Also, I'm not a mechanic. I did not build Teslas from the ground up. I'm just a normal consumer who bought a car that she thought was going to be reliable and give her great driving tech features, and these are just my thoughts. And if you have different thoughts, maybe it's because you have a different car. Now, I have some serious issues with this car, but I do want to start this off with a positive because there are some things that I do really like about this car. And one of those things is that when it comes to all the Tesla accessories, there is such a huge third-party market for amazing accessories. And also I've run into Tesla selling out of their things a lot, which is really frustrating. So having amazing products that aren't made by Tesla has been major key in me fully enjoying this car. I will list all of my Tesla accessories down below, the things that I love, the things that I swear by. But one of those things that's worth mentioning, because Tesla's website is sold out of these right now, is the Electron EV charger. When you buy a Tesla, you get this charger that comes standard with the car, and usually people just keep it in their car so they can charge it if they're in an emergency situation. I actually use that charger at my house, so I wanted an additional one of those chargers for our desert house that we have out near Joshua Tree, California. I didn't want to have to keep unplugging and replugging. It was like a whole thing. I wanted something easy, but unfortunately, I couldn't buy it from Tesla, and I wasn't sure if some of the other brands would be as good. So Electron actually sent me this charger to use to try. I've been using it for about 6 months now. I've loved having it. It works really well. The cord's really long. It's about 20 feet long. This is their level 1, level 2 portable charger. It does come with 2 different plug options. So make sure before you buy it that you have the outlet to match those 2 different plug options. It's also a universal charger, so it works with all types of North American standard charging vehicles. Another important thing to note, it's made of weatherproofing materials, so it can withstand the rain. I'm out in extreme heat and it's done a great job out there. It's always good to have an extra charger laying around in the event that something does go wrong and you need to charge your car. I'm not a fan of doing the big major call the electrician to install a Tesla charger person, just because it's very expensive now. It costs like thousands of dollars. I think we got quoted $2,000 to $3,000 and the charger itself is like $500. Don't need it. I've got superchargers everywhere. So, and more importantly than anything else is I can just buy this right now. Tesla's, it's always sold out. I feel like this charger has been sold out since I bought the car. So don't fret, Electron has you covered. I will link it below. Thank you guys for sending that charger to me. It has been a game changer. All right, let's get into the things I don't love about this car. The list is long. One of the things that I have grown to really dislike is how bumpy and rough the ride is in this vehicle. When I was test driving it around town, it didn't bother me very much, but after taking many long road trips, I drive maybe 5 hours a day sometimes when I'm driving out to our desert house. The drive is so rough, and it's fine for me as the driver, but I often carry my golden retriever Benji with us on the road, and he actually hates the back seat of this car. He gets car sick. He does not get car sick in our Audi SUV, but in this car, poor guy, he like loves to go on road trips, but every time he realizes we're taking the Tesla, he like doesn't want to get in the car. And honestly, this is like a game changer for me because I want to carry my dog with me places, and if he can't stomach being in the car, if it makes him sick, burn it to the ground. Like my dog is like my child, okay? So if a cush ride, a comfortable ride is something that you care about at all in any kind of road trip fashion, this probably isn't the car for you. Okay, the next issue is something that continues to really ruin my experience with this Tesla, and that is the connectivity to my phone is still causing me problems, and now it's also causing my husband problems with his Tesla app, which at first his phone worked perfectly, and I kind of almost feel like he thought I was being a little over dramatic with how frustrating it is to have the key to your car on your phone and then not have your phone work quickly and efficiently when it comes to being out in the world and needing to get in your car when it's raining quickly and it won't unlock because the connectivity is not working to your freaking Tesla. Now that his phone is having issues as well, he's now understanding how big of a a pain it is in life to have to worry about your car not being able to turn on. That's why I did have to buy the key fob. It was $200. It should have come standard with the car, but I don't know, Tesla really wants to milk you for every dollar that you have. And it was worth every penny because now that fob actually does work pretty well. I would give it like a 99.9% efficacy grade because it does help me a lot. So I've taken my car to Tesla. They basically told me I'd have to go in to get the Bluetooth element of the car repaired because clearly it's not working. So all you fanboys who say I don't know how to use a phone or I don't know how to use a car, you can sit down. I've already talked to Tesla about it. There are Bluetooth malfunctions in Teslas. Just be aware of that if you're buying a Tesla. Okay, speaking of issues with the tech, I've had the most random issue pop up. My windshield wipers will randomly turn on and I can't turn them off. The windshield has some sort of detection technology, so when it rains, it knows to turn your windshield wipers on. If there's dust or your car happens to be a little dirty, sometimes the windshield wipers will turn on because it thinks there's water on the glass. That's fine, but when you go to the screen or when I go to my screen to hit the off button, it doesn't always turn the windshield wipers off. Sometimes it does, but I have driven many hours in this car with my windshield wipers going and I can't, the button like doesn't sense that I'm touching the screen. So I just drive dry as a bone with the windshield wipers going at full speed. Okay, I wanna give an update on something that I have grown to love a little bit more. I used to hate it, now I love it in certain circumstances, and that is the semi-autonomous autopilot driver assist system. Tesla has like a cruise control feature. That's not what it's called, but if you don't have a Tesla, that's what you're gonna know it as. You set the speed, it kind of stops when it senses a car around you. All well and good, except my car senses lots of things around me, whether it's a concrete barrier in the road or maybe a piece of trash bag that's flying on the road and it thinks a car is there, and I will slam on brakes even if I'm going 70, 60 miles an hour. It has almost caused accidents for me on the freeway many times. It is very dangerous to use if you're driving under any kind of like rain circumstances, any kind of winding roads. I don't use it really much at all on the freeway because it is so dangerous and my car flukes all the time. However, I do use it in stop and go, relatively slow traffic in Los Angeles, and that has been something that I have enjoyed using, mostly because I know I'm not going fast enough that if it slams on brakes, I'm gonna be able to take control of the vehicle pretty quickly. Tesla did roll out a new feature that if you double tap the arm, not only can it detect speed and slow you down, but it can also do lane assist as well. And that's been really helpful, especially in LA stop and go traffic. So while it is very dangerous and I don't think I would trust it when you're going above like 25 miles an hour, which is really the only time you really wanna use it, I have enjoyed using it during stop and go traffic. Also, if you do use this feature, whether it is the cruise control option or the lane assist option, I do think that it does drain your battery more quickly, so keep that in mind. And also, I recommend keeping the cameras around your vehicle cleaned off so that you do eliminate the possibility of your car just slamming on brakes, possibly causing a serious accident. Another thing that I really can't stand are that these built-in phone charger pads that come standard on the car, they suck. They're useless. I don't even know why you made them chargers because it barely charges at all. Especially if you are using your phone while it's charging, forget about it. You're never gonna charge. They put the USB-C charger in the back right behind your armrest. That one is the only one that I can use to charge my phone because these little tray chargers, what a waste of time. I'm gonna add a pro after driving this for a year. The regenerative braking system, gosh, it is truly great. It is really the only feature of this car that I feel like might be worth the price tag. When you have never driven a car like this before, you don't realize it until you've gotten used to it, and then you get into a regular gas vehicle and oh my gosh, the luxury. It is truly so nice to never have to hit the brake unless it's an emergency, just to keep it all in one foot motion. I don't know what it is, but it is such a comfortable driving experience. It does take a while to get used to. I will say I didn't love it at first, but after a year, I'm obsessed with it. It's the one thing I struggle the most with about selling this car, which by the way, I think I'm gonna sell this car. I'm gonna miss this feature feature so much. So if you have another EV and it has this feature, let me know, because I love it so much. Another con is that this car gets so hot in the summer, so hot. It's because obviously the whole top of the vehicle is glass. The sun is beating down on you. Maybe you don't cook if you live in, I don't know, Chicago, but when you are in literally the desert driving this car, it is truly like baking a cake. I've had the AC on high and my seats are wet, drenched with sweat. My crotch will be wet when I get up out of my car. It was so miserable that I had to go spend, I think, like $1,500 to get all of my windows tinted, the top window tinted, unfortunately, because it is beautiful, but when you tint it, it's not quite as crystal clear and pretty, but I couldn't survive it otherwise. Another con I didn't realize until after driving this car for a while is there aren't internal lights. There are the two little button lights at the front, and there are lights maybe in the back trunk door, but if you open the back seat to grab something that you forgot and it's nighttime, it is so dark in there. You have to carry your phone with your flashlight because you can't see anything in there. Why aren't there lights in this car? And my massive final con is one I probably should take a drink for. This con is probably the reason why I'm gonna have to sell this car, and it is the tires. So in the last 5 months, I've had to replace 3 tires. And in other vehicles I've driven, I maybe have had 1 flat tire in 20 years. But in the last 5 months, I've had to get 3 new tires. One of those 3 instances, there was a screw in the tread. And had it been any other vehicle, I could have had it patched. But because the weight of the Tesla is so heavy on these tires, Tesla guys were like, I wouldn't recommend it on this car because if we patch it, you're just gonna blow this tire because the car's too heavy. And they specifically told me if you were driving any other car that didn't weigh as much as this one, it would be fine, but we just wouldn't recommend it for this car. So I had to spend $450 because that's how much it costs to get a new tire from Tesla if you do their roadside service, versus the $125 that it would have cost me to have them patch it, but it wasn't patchable. The other time I got 2 flat tires on the same side of my car, stranded in the desert. I ran over what I think is a rock that's embedded in our dirt road that we live on. The hole was like 2 to 3 inches, so it was a pretty big rock. But the reason why it probably punctured my tires, coming from the folks at Tesla, was because the car is so heavy, and if my PSI, the pressure in my tires, wasn't perfect, if it's a little bit too low or a little bit too high, it's so easy to rupture these tires, which would have been freaking good to know before I bought the car, because now I drive panicked all the time that the pressure in my car might be 1 or 2 PSI too low. I mean, literally they told me that. They were like, if it's 2 PSI below what it's supposed to be, you do run the risk of puncturing it easily. And there are potholes everywhere. And to constantly be in fear and having to check your tire pressure is just not feasible. It's stressful, it's exhausting, especially when you're doing long road trips like I am and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And by the way, if you get 2 flat tires and you're stranded, if you're not within 50 miles of a Tesla service center, which there aren't many Tesla service centers in the world, then you're gonna have to coordinate your own tow person to come tow you to God knows where. I don't know where you tow yourself to. Maybe a tire company, but a lot of the tire companies out where I was stranded basically said to me, we don't sell Tesla tires. There's a special order. It's gonna take 3-4 days to get it in here. If you are within Tesla's range where they'll send a tech out to service your car on the side of the road, you might be shocked to find out that they are all booked up for days, which really isn't feasible if you're stranded on the side of a freeway. You can't wait 2 to 3 days. That's why roadside assistance is there, because it's usually an emergency situation. I had to wait 2 days for them to come fix my tire. Luckily, the one time it was at my house, so I was able to make that work. But if you're stranded, just beware that even Tesla techs may take 2 to 3 days before they can come fix your tire. The other thing about these tires is that if you choose to put a different set of tires, a better set of tires onto the car, Tesla will refuse to come change them. They will only change the brand and the type of tire that comes standard with the car. So a lot of people recommended buying new tires, which is a great tip. However, if I do find myself myself stranded, then Tesla's like, bye, see, we won't come at all. And then you do have to coordinate your own tow, and a lot of towing companies don't know how to tow Teslas, and there are specific requirements, specs for how they tow a Tesla. So you have to make sure you don't have just anybody towing your car. All of these things, all of these technical issues, it's just too exhausting of an experience. I never had to think about stuff like this when I was driving a Honda or my Audi. And I wish I was alone in this, but I also polled a lot of you on Instagram to see if am I the only one who has like a cursed, hexed Tesla? And a lot of you responded and said that you've had issues with your tires. You've had to change multiple tires over the past year. You need to have the budget and your emergency fund to handle very expensive tire replacements. You need to have a plan. If you plan a road trip, you need to understand where the Tesla service centers are. Maybe you can load in an extra tire in the trunk just in case. This is just not the way that I want to live. I don't want to live constantly trying to plan my life around my car. I would recommend do all of your research before committing to any car that you buy. There are pros and there are cons to owning any type of vehicle. I'm not here to say that Tesla is the worst car on the market, but there are a lot of things that I don't think get a lot of attention outside of the multiple recalls that have happened recently on my car. But there are issues and there are problems, and Tesla was cool, they were innovative, but unfortunately so much of a customer service experience lies in the details. And I do think there are many details that no one thought about, that were overlooked or really done half-assed, to be honest, for the price that you pay, which is now cheaper than it was when I bought it because Tesla reduced the price. If I could sell this car immediately, I would. Unfortunately, selling a car is a very laborious, expensive, time-consuming, annoying process that I don't have time for, and I am planning on selling it. So if you're in the market, let me know in the comments. I've tinted the windows. I've got lots of amazing accessories.
Don't sell that car. You gotta keep that car.
No, we're getting rid of it.
For that car.
I know. I want to throw it in the trash can. It's trash. Let me know what you would do in the comments. Let me know if you've had any of these issues with your Tesla, and if you haven't, consider yourself lucky. Don't be a jerk. Anyway, subscribe. I'm happy to do an entire Tesla accessory review video too, so let me know if you want to see that.